Hello, 8th standard. Have a good day. Have a nice day. I hope you are doing well. Today we are doing video number 3, lesson chapter 1, crop production and management, part 3. Right? Crop production and management we have learned as video 1 and 2, part 1, part 2, and this is a continuation of our lesson part 3. Okay, in video 1 we have learned it as what is a crop, then types of crops as kharif crop, rabi crop and plantation crops. Those types we have learned. I am sure you can recollect these points. Okay, then this part 2 we have learned about the agricultural practices. First 2 steps. What are all? First one, plowing the field, and second, preparing the soil. Plowing the field, preparing the soil and sowing of seeds. Those 2 steps we have learnt in part 2, video number 2. What are the preparing the soil? Is nothing but plowing the field, thereby turning and loosening of the soil, where the big crumb, CRUMB channel, that big crumb, otherwise a big soil particles are broken into small pieces. I hope you understand. And as a result of this turning and loosening the soil, the soil rich nutrients are also becoming mixed. They were also getting mixed. Okay. And the agricultural tools that is used for this preparation of soil, what you have learnt it as plow or tilling, hoe and cultivator. Cultivator and the tractor driven cultivator. So turning and loosening of the soil is plowing, which is done by using this 2 bullock cutters or a 2 bull, that plow is used, and other one is hoe, that is manvetti that is, and then using this cultivator, that is tractor driven cultivator. In fact, that will make the soil, plowing the soil as a leveling. Leveling it can also be done by using this cultivator. I hope you understand. That is for plowing the field. Whereas next step is sowing the seeds. Again, sowing the seeds are of 2 types. One is manual method and another one is tractor driven machine, using a machine. Now in this manual method, again there are 2 types. One is just scattering the seeds and another one is using a funnel type. Using a plow, using a funnel type, the seeds are scattered, the seeds are sown. Okay. Whereas another one using a machine, tractor driven, is called seed drill. I hope you remember that. That is known as seed drill. Okay. Now this scattering of the seed, it is just making the field somewhat not uniform. The sowing was not uniform. So then and there the seeds will get germinated, and thereby there is overcrowding of germination of these seeds, and that will lead to competency for food, water and shelter, nutrients. Is it not? So the seed drill method, where the seeds are sown uniformly with equal distance or required distance, is done. So sowing the seed, traditional method, and next one is using the seed drill. I hope you follow this. Then next one, after doing that, third practice is manure and fertilizers. Yeah. Now manure and fertilizers, they are supplied to the soil for further growth of the plants. Okay. Now this manure, as you know, it can be made. It is naturally made substance. Manure is a naturally made one. 1 minute. Manure, it is naturally made. Naturally made. What does it mean? All the waste and then dried leaves and dried remains of the plants and animals when they are getting dumped in a pit, that will be forming naturally made manure. Okay, and then this manure, it can be made in using this compost. Using the compost. Okay. So normally this manure, it is as farmyard manure and then green manure and compost. Farmyard is the dried dead plants and animal remains, and then the vegetable peels. Nammula compost poduvom veetla oram pandrathu. That is farmyard manure. Okay. Green manure, all that நம்ம வந்து இந்த பட்டாணி உரிச்சு வெங்காயத்தோல் உரிக்கிறது, and the skin, the vegetable peel, they are made into compost. They are forming the green manure. Sorry? So then this manure, it will develop humus. As in, when manure is forming, it develops humus. Humus will be present on the topsoil. Humus will be present on the topsoil. I hope you follow. And then this manure is not nutrient specific. Before that, we should know the terms macro and micronutrients. Macro and micronutrients. Plants which require nutrients at larger capacity, they are forming macronutrients. Which are required in smaller quantity, they are called micronutrients. Okay. Now this carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, they are all potassium, they are all forming macronutrients. Then iron, boron, zinc, molybdenum, they are all forming micronutrients. Okay. So this manure, we say when it is applied to the soil, when it is applied to the plant, it is not nutrient specific. நம்ம வந்து இந்த given manual இந்த nutrient இதுக்கு சொல்ல முடியாது. It has each and every nutrients required in large quantity. Okay. So here this manure, when it is applied to the plant, all the rich nutrients will be supplied to the plant. So we say it is not nutrient specific. I hope you follow. Whereas next term what we come across, fertilizers, they are man-made. Fertilizers are man-made. They are made in the factories or industries. Fertilizers are made in factories or industries. As I said earlier, நம்ம தூத்துக்குடியில் ஸ்பிக் பில்டிங் தெரியுமா, ஸ்பிக் ஃபேக்ட்ரி இருந்தது. That used to prepare urea necessary. It is a nitrogenous fertilizer. So that urea was prepared by the spic DAP in Chalwa. That diammonium phosphate the fertilizers they were preparing. DAP, diammonium phosphate. That was prepared by the spic industry. But now they are doing it in very small unit, and some other they closed. I'm not sure. Please make sure. Then these fertilizers, so I say they are man-made and they are nutrient specific. Normally these fertilizers are, it is as nitrogenous fertilizers, potassic fertilizers, and phosphatic fertilizers. So these fertilizers, they are nitrogenous, phosphatic, and potassic fertilizers. So again I say they are man-made, nutrient specific, and normally they are of nitrogenous, phosphatic and potassic fertilizers. Right? So nitrogenous they are as diammonium phosphate and other nitrogenous fertilizers, urea. They are forming nitrogenous fertilizers. Phosphatic fertilizers they are potassium sulfate and potassium bisulfate, and that is for potassium. Phosphatic they are ammonium superphosphate, and the phosphate fertilizers are used as manure requirement for nutrients. Okay? Now at the same time, when the plant requires nitrogenous compound, we can supply both manure or fertilizer. At the same time, when we say manure, we have to apply in large quantity. Whereas when we talk about fertilizers, and the nitrogenous fertilizer urea and the plant so we say manure, not nutrient specific, whereas fertilizers are nutrient specific. Okay. Then these fertilizers, they are quick in action, but it is not permanent. Then and there, wherever the nutrients are required, it has to be supplied. Whereas manure, it is slow in action but permanent. Okay. And then when the manure is supplied, if it rains heavily, or if then when there is flow of water is heavy, move faster, then manure will not be disturbed. Whereas fertilizers can be easily washed away. I hope you follow. So this is for fertilizers and manure. And you should know the difference between manure and fertilizers. I hope you understand. So here, I say, 1 minute, it is manure and fertilizers given in our textbook page 6 and 7. Okay. Then here, fertilizers, they are chemical substances which are rich in particular nutrient. And the fertilizers are produced in factories or industry, we say. Example, urea, ammonium sulfate, superphosphate, potash and NPK. NPK na nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Okay. The use of fertilizers has helped farmers to get better yield of crops such as wheat, paddy and maize. At the same time, excessive use of fertilizers has made the soil less fertile. Fertilizers have also become a source of water pollution, and in order to maintain the fertility of the soil, we have to substitute the fertilizers by organic manure or leave the field uncultivated. That uncultivated land is known as fallow land. Uncultivated land, it is known as fallow land. Open up. So it has to be done. Or we can do crop rotation. We can follow crop rotation. What does it mean? Suppose we are cultivating in a given field paddy. Next time next season we should do groundnut so that the nutrients will be distributed uniformly. But they paddy again and again or 2-3 years use pannanga, the soil will become less fertile. So that is why we have to follow the pattern. Either you leave the land fallow, uncultivated, or use it as crop rotation, or we can do intercropping. Intercropping na ஒரு லைன்ல ஒரு ரோல if you are growing wheat na அடுத்ததுல you can do in between two wheat இருக்கு நடுவுல you can do other crop. That is called intercropping. I hope you understand. And then the use of manure improves soil texture as well as its water retaining capacity. The use of soil texture use of manure improves soil texture as well as its water retaining capacity. Okay, and it replenishes the soil with all the nutrients. I hope you understand. So another method of replenishing the soil with the nutrients is through crop rotation. So this one, crop rotation. What does it mean? This can be done by cultivating the crop alternatively. Suppose if you are growing legume, groundnut variety, as fodder in one season, then in the next season you can grow wheat. That is called crop rotation. I hope you could follow this. Then this helps the replenishment of the soil with the nitrogen. The leguminous plants, last year we studied here, root nodules of leguminous plant will make the soil enriched with the nutrients. As what does it mean? As nitrogen, this example, nitrogen fixing bacteria, rhizobium will give us help in what do we say? It helps in fixing the nitrogen for leguminous plants, that in turn getting shelter from the leguminous plant. Now this groundnut is a leguminous plant. That's why that is how we can do replenishing the soil. Then differences between fertilizer and manure. Fertilizer is an inorganic salt. Fertilizer is prepared in factories. Fertilizer does not provide any humus to the soil, and fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Whereas manure is a natural substance obtained by decomposition of cattle dung, and it can be prepared in the field. Compost ready பண்ணுவோம்ல அதுதான். And it provides lot of humus to the soil, and it is relatively less rich in plant nutrients. I hope you understand. It's given in our textbook, page 7. But at the same time, following this video number 4 I have given as picture presentation for all this, where we are learning it as difference between manure and fertilizer with the little more points. Adayam you have to learn. Okay. Then advantages of manure. What will you say? The organic manure is considered better than fertilizers. Organic manure is considered as better than fertilizers because it is a short answers. Because it enhances water holding capacity of the soil. It enhances water holding capacity of the soil. It makes the soil porous, due to which exchange of gases become easy. I repeat, it makes the soil porous, due to which exchange of gases becomes easy. I hope you understand. Next point, it increases the number of friendly microbes. Which one? Manure increases the number of friendly microbes. Then it improves the texture of the soil. As such, when the nutrients are rich, when it is supplied, it is automatically improving the texture of the soil. Okay, and for this, there is an activity given in our textbook, where you take 3 tumblers ABC, and in that tumbler you take one as given activity 1.3b. Idhula 1.3b. Idhula 1 you take manure. 1 you take cow dung manure, glass A, glass B you take urea, and glass C no fertilizer or urea, and allow the plant to grow. You sow some seed and allow the plant to grow, and 2-3 days you water the plant. And then watch it further. Then you will find growth of plant in B faster, because in B we have taken fertilizer, quick in action. Whereas in A, growth will be there, but it is very, very slow. I hope you follow. So this is activity 1.2. And then 8th standard, I would like to give one more information, where you have to prepare activity. One activity you can do this. You just try any seed. வீட்டில் கடுகு போட்டிருக்கோம்ல, கடுகு வெந்தயம் இருக்குல்ல, அதை கூட நீங்கள் டம்ளரில் போடலாம். சரி, and then do this activity and make a note. This is number 1. Second one, you should compare our this lesson, crop rotation and management, with the Jammu Kashmir, the other state. In CBSE board, there is one activity as art integration. Last year we have done. Clear? In the lesson we can do easily, comparing this crop improvement. There is a lot of difference in kharif crop and rabi crop. So நம்ம இதில் என்ன இது பண்ணுறோம், ஜம்மு காஷ்மீரில் என்ன பண்ணுறோங்கிறத கம்பேர் பண்ணி you just make 5 PPT slides that you get ready. Okay, so we'll just continue. So what you are doing is for manure and fertilizer. The next activity in agricultural practices is protection from weeds. What do you know? Weeds are the undesired plants which are present in between the crop. They are called weeds. Kalai edukkiradhu sollunga, adu peru weed. Okay, so the undesired plants, unwanted plants which are grown along with the crop, they are called weeds. Okay, so the weed has to be removed, because the crop that is grown, it will be supplied with the rich nutrients. Okay, and at the same time, if the weeds are also growing along with that, means that weed will also take up the nutrients. So the crop may have shortage of nutrients. Nutrients na the manure and fertilizers. Yeah. So that weed to be destroyed, removed. So that weeds can be removed manually. The vayalala இந்த லேடிஸ் வந்து இப்படி கட் பண்ணி விட்டு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்த களை எடுப்பாங்க பேர், தட் இஸ் கால் களை எடுக்கிறது. ஆர் அட்ராக்டட் ட்ரிவன் கல்டிவேட்டர் மாதிரி அதையும் இந்த வீடை வந்து கொஞ்சம் குத்தி குத்தி எடுத்து பார்க்கணும். ஸோ எப்படி இந்த கிராப் வந்து டிஸ்டர்ப் ஆகிருக்கும். அதனால் இந்த சிக்கல் சொல்லுவாங்க அறிவாள்னு இந்த குட்டி கத்தி மாதிரி இருக்கும், அதால் தான் இந்த வீடு ஷுட் பி ரிமூவ்டு. That is manual. Other than that, the weeds can be destroyed by using the chemical called weedicide. By using the chemical called weedicide. Okay. Now we have learned it as insect pesticide and insecticide. அதே மாதிரி வீடை ரிமூவ் பண்ணுற கெமிக்கல்ஸ் பேர் weedicide. Right? Now when the weedicide is sprayed using a spraying machine. இப்போ வந்து நம்ம கொரோனா லாக்டவுன்னால இந்த இன்ஃபெக்டன்ட் ஸ்ப்ரே பண்ணுறது தெரியுமா, சானிடைசர் ஸ்ப்ரே பண்ணுறத பற்றி நம்ம ஸ்கூலில் கூட நம்ம இவர் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவார், ஆஃபீஸில் இருக்கிறவர் பண்ணுவார், நம்ம லஞ்ச் முடிச்சுட்டு. அதே மாதிரி அந்த டேங்கில் இந்த weedicide கெமிக்கலை எடுத்துட்டு it will be sprayed along the crop. That is called spraying the weedicide. Right? And it can be done manually also by scattering. But caution should be taken. Precaution should be taken as when the weedicide is sprayed, the person should cover the face with the mask so that it may not be a toxic one. The spraying will not harm the person for breathing. The disinfectant போடுறோம்ல, அதனால அது வந்து மாஸ்க் போட்டுட்டா it will not disturb our breathing. சரி, so the spraying should be taken care of. Okay, should be done carefully. That is for weedicide. So that weedicide, protecting from weedicide, it is given as in a field many other undesirable plants may grow naturally along with the crop. These undesirable plants are called weeds. The removal of weed is called weeding. Weeding is necessary since weeds compete with the crop plant for water, nutrients, space and light. இது வந்து அண்டர்லைன் பண்ணிக்கணும். Thus they affect the growth of the crop and some weeds interfere even in harvesting and may be poisonous for animals and human beings. Right? And then farmers adopt many ways to remove the weeds and control their growth. Tilling before sowing of crop helps in uprooting and killing the weeds. And then which may be then dry up and get mixed with the soil. The best time for removal of weed is before they produce flowers and seed. The crop வந்து flowering க்கு முன்னாடி the weed should be removed. Right? The manual removal include physical removal of weeds by uprooting or cutting. Uprooting na செடியை பிடுங்கிறது. And then this is done along with the kurpi or a seed drill. Is also used to uproot the weeds. Okay? And then weeds are also controlled by using certain chemical called weedicide, that is 2,4-D, that is dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane. 2,4-D வந்து இந்த டைங்கிறத வந்து இந்த கார்பன் அட்டமைக்கு போட்டு காட்டுறேன் 2,4-D. சரி, and these are sprayed in the field to kill weeds and they do not damage the crops. These chemical will not damage the crops and they are diluted with water to the extent required. Okay. So now here this 2,4-D 2,4-D is வந்து ஒரு weedicide as dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane. சரியா? Now this diphenyl and trichloroethane. இது வந்து ஒரு கெமிக்கல். இதுல இந்த டைக்ளோரோனா 2 குளோரின், டைஃபினைல்னா 2 இது இருக்கும். இல்லையா? ஸோ இந்த ட்ரைக்ளோருக்கு வந்து ஒரு ஃபார்முலா உண்டு. அதுல இந்த 2வது கார்பன் ஆட்டத்தையும் 2வது கார்பன் ஆட்டத்தையும் இந்த குளோரோ அட்டாச் ஆகிடும். குளோரின் அட்டாச் ஆகிடும். That is dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane as we decided. சரியா? The next one, நான் இது சொல்லிக்கிறேன். அடுத்து வந்து here it is irrigation. Irrigation, it is as what is irrigation? Watering the plant is called irrigation. Watering the plant is known as irrigation. What is irrigation? Whenever it is required and the supply of water is decided based on the requirement of the crop, and the crop may be grown as different season to season, different climatic condition and different parts of the world. So it differs from region to region. சரியா? And then the availability of the water, otherwise we say sources of water. என்ன சொல்றது? Normally well, tube well, borewell சொல்லுவோம்ல, and borewell, and then other sources as pond, lake and rivers. These are the sources of water. Okay, and this irrigation again depending on the crop, and the water requirement may be more during summer season due to scarcity of water, and irrigation should be done definitely at the time of germination. I hope you follow this. So this is introduction for irrigation, where we have 2 methods. One is traditional method of irrigation, another one is modern method of irrigation. What do you understand? Traditional, one is pulley. One method of irrigation, it is called pulley. It is pulley and chain pump. Pulley, chain pump. As it is given in our textbook as pulley, chain pump, and then dekhi and rahat. Dekhi and rahat. What does it mean? Chain pump, dekhi and rahat. These are the traditional method of supplying water to the plant. இதெல்லாம் நம்ம புக்ல டயக்ராம் இருக்கு, and picture presentation போது செப்பரேட்டா கொடுத்திருக்கேன். that you will understand still better. புள்ளினா நம்ம ராட்னம் சொல்லுவோம்ல, that is புள்ளி. நம்ம கிணத்துல இருந்து தண்ணி அடிச்சு விடுவோம்ல, that is புள்ளி. Okay, and then this chain pump, இந்த ராட்னத்திலே ஒரு மெஷினை மாட்டி விட்டுட்டு கட்டையை நீளமா போட்டிருப்பார், that is chain pump. And third one is dekhi. நம்ம புக்ல பாரு, இதுதான் புள்ளி சிஸ்டம். இந்த ராட்னத்துல இறச்சி விடுறோம், புள்ளி சிஸ்டம். அண்ட் இங்க இருந்து செயின் இருக்கு, இங்க இருந்து பக்கெட் போட்டு செயின் பம்ப். அண்ட் தென் திஸ் இஸ் தேக்கி. தேக்கின்னா ஒரு பெரிய கம்பு, அது வந்து ஒரு நடுவில் ஒரு கம்பில் நட்டிருப்பான். அண்ட் ஒன் சைட் இட் இஸ் அ பிக் ஸ்டோன், another side it is bucket. So the கம்பை அப்படி தூக்கி பக்கெட்ல தண்ணி எடுத்து விடுவார். Okay, and then this is Raha using a ruler. I hope you follow. So this is traditional method. Whereas modern method of irrigation, it is of two types. One is sprinkler irrigation and another one is drip irrigation. Sprinkler irrigation நம்ம அந்த crop field நல்ல நீள பைப் வச்சிட்டு then the connection. Then the connection 2 minutes where this water will be sprinkled. The nozzle when it is rotating, the water will be sprinkled. That is sprinkler irrigation. Where the sandy soil இருக்கிறதுல the sprinkler irrigation and it will be useful where the water will be supplied uniformly. Whereas drip irrigation, when there is scarcity of water, the drip irrigation method where again with the tube it will go drip by drip, drop by drop. That is drip irrigation. I hope you follow. So in irrigation method we are learning traditional method of irrigation and modern method of irrigation. Modern method we are learning sprinkler irrigation and drip irrigation. I hope you understand. So we will continue in the video session 4 with the picture presentation. Further explanation of this agricultural practicals will be in the next video session. We will continue. Have a nice day. Thank you. Standard Cbse children, continuation of our video 3 we are doing. We are talking about fertilizers and manure, and then irrigation, and then about protection from weed. Is it not? And just now we are completed with the irrigation. With the fertilizers, I would like to just explain these things from our textbook. As fertilizers are chemical substances which are rich in a particular nutrient. And where are they? How are they different from manure? They are produced in fertilizers are produced in factories. Some examples: urea, ammonium sulfate, superphosphate, potash, and NPK. NPK na nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And then next para, that when we do this lesson, we will just discuss. And then about use of manure. See this line, use of manure improve soil texture as well as its water retaining capacity. It replenishes in soil with all the nutrients. That means what is replenishing? Another method of replenishing the soil with the nutrient is through crop rotation. This can be done by using by growing different crops alternately. That is known as crop rotation. Crop rotation, just now I explained, isn't it? In one season, if you are growing crop cultivation, paddy cultivation, the next season we may use it as groundnut or any other leguminous varieties. Otherwise, we can just leave the land as uncultivated. That uncultivated land is called fallow land. That I already told you. Fallow, F-A-L-L-O, fallow land. So, yeah. Now, another method of replenishing the soil with the nutrient is through crop rotation. This can be done by growing different crops alternately. Earlier, farmers in northern India used to grow legumes as fodder in one season and wheat in the next season. Another crop rotation. And this helped in replenishment of the soil with the nitrogen. Replenishment and the soil in the matter. And farmers are being encouraged to adapt this practice. Okay. And then you have learnt about the rhizobium bacteria, nitrogen fixing bacteria. And that rhizobium are present in the
root nodules of leguminous plant, and that fixes the atmospheric nitrogen. And as we already learned, this is the association known as symbiotic association, where both the partners are mutually benefiting. What does it mean? Rhizobium gets shelter from the leguminous plant, roots of leguminous plant, which in turn fixing nitrogen for the plant. I hope you remember. Huh? And then use of manure and fertilizer we are talking about. Yeah. அதுக்கு வந்து நம்ம டெக்ஸ்ட் புக்ல ஒரு ஆக்டிவிட்டி கொடுத்துருக்கு. பாரு, you take 3 tumblers, name it ABC, and then with the little soil, add manure with the tumbler A and fertilizer with the tumbler B, and nothing from as it is with the tumbler C. Okay? And then sow some seeds. See the first figure. See, these two girls are sowing the seeds. Sowing in a weather போடுற பத்தி அந்த 3 கப்பில் ஸ்கூல் குழந்தைகள் பண்றது. நீ அந்த மாதிரி ட்ரை பண்ணி பாரு. மாதிரி இதை போட்டுட்டு அதில் மேக் த சாயில் வெட் and allow it to germinate. After 2-3 days, we find growth in 2 tumblers. And at the same time, in tumbler A, growth is little slow, and in tumbler B, growth will be faster. In growth, tumbler A, it is manual. So growth will be, the action, it is slow action. Whereas tumbler B, it is fertilizer. So it is faster in action. So this is what growing seedling with manure and fertilizers. C வந்து ரொம்ப slow growth இருக்கும், because already in the soil உள்ள என்ன nutrients அதுதான். So this is for manure and fertilizers. Then different நம்ம already படிக்கல, because next video session we are going to learn this differences between fertilizer and manure. Okay. Then advantages of manure I already said that. And nutrition, sorry, irrigation, the figure பார்த்துக்கோ, mot, நான் காமிச்சேன் இல்லையா, அது mot, the pulley system, and then this is chain pump, டேக்கி சொன்னால ஒரு பெரிய கம்பு இந்த மாதிரி குறுக்க வச்சு நட்டு முட்டு கொடுக்கறது சொல்லுவால, அந்த மாதிரி நட்டு இங்க ஸ்டோன், இங்க வந்து பக்கெட், ரைட். அண்ட் தென் இது வந்து ரஹாட், இந்த புல்லக்க வச்சு பண்றது வந்து ரஹாட். இதெல்லாம் நான் ஆல்ரெடி எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணிட்டேன். Okay, that is for irrigation. And then for protection from weed, சொன்னேன்ல, இதுதான் spraying weedicide. நம்ம as I said, நம்ம ஸ்கூல்ல நம்ம ஆஃபீஸ் அட்டெண்டர் சானிடைஸ் பண்றோம் இல்லையா, இந்த மாதிரி மெஷினை பேக்ல வச்சுட்டு ஸ்ப்ரே பண்றது, அதான் spraying weedicide. So in a field, many other undesirable plants may grow naturally along with the crop. These undesirable plants are called weeds. The removal of weeds is called weeding. And weeding is necessary since weeds compete with crop plants for water, nutrients, space, and light. And whatever we are supplying the nutrients as manure and fertilizer, this weed will also compete to take this. Some weeds interfere even in harvesting and may be poisonous for animals and human beings. So it has to be removed. Farmers adopt many ways to remove weeds and control their growth. Tilling before sowing of crops helps in uprooting and killing of weeds. அதுவும் போயிடும். ஏன்னா நம்ம turning and loosening the soil தானே, அது பண்ணிட்டு. So which may then dry up and get mixed with the soil. And the best time for removal of weeds before they produce flowers and seeds. ஏன்னா அந்த weed reproduction தொடங்கிட்டுன்னா அப்புறம் it is very difficult. So before that it has to be removed. The manual removal includes physical removal of weeds by uprooting or cutting them close to the ground from time to time. And this is done with the help of kurpi. Kurpina நம்ம இந்த குத்துக்கரண்டி சொல்லுவோம்ல, or a seed drill is also used to uproot. I hope you understand. So weeds are also controlled by using certain chemicals called weedicide, like 2,4-D. 2,4-D just now as to dichloro, diphenyl, trichloroethane. These are sprayed in the weeds to kill the weeds and they do not damage the crops. Weedicides are diluted with water to the extent required and sprayed in the fields with the sprayer. இந்த பண்ணிருக்காங்க இந்த மாதிரி சரியா? And at the same time, it should be very careful. The person who is spraying the weedicide should be careful during because the weedicide are sprayed during vegetative growth of weeds before flowering and seed formation. And spraying of weedicide may affect the health of the farmer. So they should use chemicals very carefully and they should cover their nose and mouth with a piece of cloth or with the mask during spraying of these chemicals. I hope you understand. So in the video session, நம்ம வந்து agricultural practices so far we have completed preparation of soil, that is turning and loosening of the soil, sowing the seed, traditional method and mechanical as using seed drill, and then manure and fertilizer, then irrigation, then protecting from. I hope you understand. Yeah? So this is for the video session number 3. Right? So we'll continue in the next video class. I hope you understand. Yeah? We'll continue in the next video session. Right? Thank you.